Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Podcast von Krank durch Brustimplantate, wir helfen e.V. Du suchst die Anlaufstelle Deutschlands mit höchster Expertise und internationalem Netzwerk rund um die Erkrankungen von Brustimplantaten? Dann bleib dran. So, hallo und guten Morgen. Hier am Mikrofon ist wieder Birgit Schäfers und mein heutiger Gast hier ist Dr. Henry Dijkman aus den Niederlanden. Hello Henry, nice to have you here as my guest. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Birgit. Nice to have you.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you said yes.
Yes, of course. It's very important to create awareness. So
it is.
I'm very happy to talk to you about this topic.
Thank you very much. Henry, would you please introduce yourself shortly? What is your work and what do you have to do with breast implants?
Yes, I'm a scientific researcher and lecturer at the Han University of Applied Sciences in Nijmegen. And I also work at the Radboud University in Nijmegen. And my topic or my specialization is cell tissue and pathology and nanotechnology. Mm-hmm. And via that way and that knowledge, I came in contact with a plastic surgeon in 2002. And there I found the interest in silicone toxicity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. So that's 20 years now.
That's correct. But in the first 10 years, we had to do a lot of work first for the controls and to understand the whole topic. Mm-hmm. And the last 10 years, I'm really very active in the media.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know. You've been a speaker about gel bleeding and silicone toxicity in many congresses so far. So I heard and saw a lot of great presentations from you. And how would you explain it in a short and maybe easy way to our audience, what they should know about gel bleeding of breast implants?
Yeah, what they really have to know is that all silicone breast implants that they bleed or leak from day one. So there is always migration of silicon into the body. And now, of course, then you have the question, what's going on there? And is that bad? Now, and for that we have done a lot of research. And the most important thing is that people have to know that when they get complaints, then they have to act.
So would you say it's early enough to react just when you have complaints? So as you said before, from day one they leak into the body. So for me it means everybody has to deal with it.
That's true. Then. What happens is that silicone toxicity is a burden for everyone, and it's a really doses response curve. So it's like smoking. We know that nicotine is very bad for your health, but some people are very sensitive for it and they only smoke a few cigarettes and get sick. Others smoke a lot and it takes years. So there is a real doses response. But what we see is, of course, I'm now convinced with the latest paper which I have published that silicon is really toxic. And it can affect a lot of things. And we can talk about that, of course, later. But so it's a burden for your body. But I can also understand that for some people it's a real important quality of life. So, and what we see is when you are really on time, of course, there can always be problems, and there are some patients who are very sensitive and create autoimmune disease or whatever. But when you are on time with total explantation, then you can recover.
Total explantation means within the capsule, that the body formed.
Exactly. Then every person creates a capsule around the implant, and that's because the body wants to protect itself. So it's not normal. That capsule has a lot of chronic inflammation and a lot of giant cells, and that's of course a lot of different terms. But what you have to understand is that the body fights against the implant. And when the capsules are staying in the body and they contain also a lot of silicon, especially the thicker capsules, then they will not dissolve in time. Then I have now investigated some patients with capsules of 25 years old, and they still are in the body. So they will never dissolve. And then it's still a burden.
Okay, I understand. And what I understood is you said every implant leaks into the body, which means not only ruptured implants, but also intact ones. Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you find out that this gel bleeding is happening?
Now, what we did is in vitro, so in the lab, we did some experiments to look if there was diffusion of silicon and different molecules into a compartment, for instance, a buffer or whatever. And then we saw already within a few days that there was a lot of diffusion of molecules out of the implant in the outer environment. But then, of course, critics, they say, yeah, that's in vitro and not in vivo, so in the body. So what we did, and I have done a lot of work with my colleague Peter, that's a mama pathologist of the Radboud UMC, and with Peter Bult, I have done a lot of investigations in very early capsules. So also from patients who had an explantation within a few weeks because they had a lot of problems, or within a few months. And all those capsules contain already silicon, and there is also migration. So we are convinced that all silicon implants bleed from day one, and that there is migration into the body.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting, even after a short time. Okay. So is there also a possibility to find out or to see what amount of silicon has migrated into the body, or to which organs or regions?
Yeah, that's a very difficult problem, because we try to create a test for it. And with a hair test, maybe you have heard of it, we could detect platinum. And because platinum is a very important metal to create cohesive gel, then before 2000, all implants were contained fluid silicon. And with platinum, they got cohesive, so it's a sort of pudding. And we could measure that platinum. And that is especially important in the beginning, so from day one to approximately 10 years. And what we saw is after 12 years, the platinum extent become lesser. So when you only investigate patients after 12 or 15 years, then the platinum content in your hairs is not a real good measurement.
Okay.
So there was a publication of the VU Amsterdam. They say the hair test is not really convincing, and that is very pity, because that hair test, especially from 0 to 10 years, I think was very important and could create a lot of information. And that's a not invasive test, and until now, there is no other test. Yeah, we are working on a blood test, but I can't tell you much more about that, because it's in a basic stadium. But the only possibility to really see if there is silicon migration, when there is a lot, you can see it with MRI. But and with echo, of course, then you get a storm, a snowstorm in your lymph nodes. But very less amounts only can be detected under the microscope. So you have to be invasive then, and that's the huge problem.
Okay, I see.
But what we know is when you explant, you can measure the implants. And what you will see is that there always is approximately 10% or more disappeared into the body. So you can weight the grams of your silicon implant.
Okay, I see. Uh-huh.
But we know that they all leak and that there is migration.
Okay. So you talked about silicon toxicity before. Could you explain that for us in easy words? What happens in the body? Why is it so toxic to our body?
Yeah. So a lot of people talk also about Asia, and I think that's not the correct term. Why? Because it's more focused on autoimmunity and inflammation, and silicon does so much more. It's a really toxic component. So what you do is poisoning of all your organs and cells. And we tried, of course, to really search for the real experiments. And what we see is when we test silicon, only silicon, it's toxic. But what is in the implant is much more. There are so much metals and other molecules. So what we did is the total content of the implants give to a worm, and that's C. elegans. And C. elegans has 9,000 genes. It's very comparable with the human situation. And what we did is gave those worms the silicon content of the implants. And then what we saw is they got immobile, they got stopped with reproduction, and they got a lot of stress, and that we could measure on the genetic level with DAF16. And in simple words, silicon creates a lot of stress in all cells. Then the cells try to protect themselves, but so they will get different, and that we call adaptation, and eventually they can really mutate, and that's the straight way to cancer. And then we are also back in the circle that we now see different lymphomes, ALCL, of course, when there is a textured implant, but also with other implants, and now also a squamous carcinoma. So silicon is not really healthy for your body. It's really poisoning your body, and what your body does is try to depoisoning it, so to detox it. And it's very good in it, the body, but it's also a heavy way to do that every day. And so the first symptom is that these women with these silicon implants get tired, because the immune system is fighting the whole day against the toxic silicon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your explanation. That's a big point, and I think maybe we have to expect other types of cancers as well in the future. We don't know so far. So far we have BIA-LCL, and now we have BIA-SCC, like you said before. But who knows what's coming? Yeah, okay.
And of course, some people say, "Oh, but that's only a few percent." But what we see is that there is a real increase in cancers. And what I see is that a lot of surgeons and doctors say, yeah, but there is nothing wrong, or there is no migration. Yeah, but when they don't investigate the capsules during explantation, then they don't know it. So we have now a lot of discussions with also plastic surgeons and doctors to create awareness and to create what's really going on into the body.
Okay. Wow, yeah. So you were talking about it before. You were talking about metals in implants, but do you think heavy metals or metals at least are the biggest problem in implants? Or is there anything else or bigger problems in it?
Now, I think silicon is the real huge problem, but the combination with different metals and also other molecules, so derivatives of silicon, they, I think, create a problem.
Okay.
And that's why we also now tested the whole content. And then you see that is really toxic. And don't forget that in the body, degradation takes place. So that's why an implant ruptures. Then when you have a new implant, you can take a car and ride over it, and there will happen nothing. Those implants are very strong and flexible. But in the body, that capsule contains giant cells, so macrophages, and they will really desorb the surface, create a lot of oxygen radicals and a lot of enzymes, and they will disrupt the implant. And that we call biodegradation. And what we also see is that then silicon becomes fluid again. And that it creates a lot of different new shorter molecules. And those shorter molecules like siloxanes, D3, D4, D5, they are very bad for your health. So in time, approximately the most women, I think, get problems about 10 years, after 10 years. And that's really typical because there is more migration and there is more biodegradation.
Okay.
So you get an increase of toxic molecules.
I understand. So that's what the marketing tries to tell us. A car can drive over it, but that's just in the beginning or before being putting in a body. And mine.
Then don't forget, 31% in the States ruptures within 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, mine was ruptured after. I mean, I had my explantation after 6 years, but I think it was ruptured maybe 2 years before. So it has been ruptured after 4 years after been putting into my body. That's a short time.
I know. I have enough examples who ruptured after 5 years.
Yeah, that's really early. I mean, I had allergan as well, but yeah. Okay, so I remember that I read what is it in English? An autopsy with Dr. Capel you did with her together. As far as I remember. And you found silicon everywhere in her body.
That's true. The silicon was spread in all the organs, in the spine, even in the spinal cord, and also in the brains. So that's proof that silicon can migrate to every part in the body.
Yeah.
But the critics, they said, but that patient also were the old ones, so the fluid ones. And later on she had cohesive gel.
Okay.
And that's a very good point, I think. And so what we try to prove in our JAMA article with Peter Bult is, and there was a lot of criticism because there was a bias, etc., but our only goal was to prove that cohesive gel did exactly the same as fluid. And that we really proved. Then it's a little bit slower, the whole process, but cohesive gels are exactly doing the same as the fluid ones.
Okay, I see.
And so migration takes place and it moves to all the organs, and that we really also proved in our article Frontiers. In Frontiers, that was a dermatologist, and she had a lot of problems, and they took a biopsy in her body from the nerves in her arm, and there we showed that the silicon was migrated into the nerves, and that's why she got problems with her movement in the hands. And she had not a rupture, only leakage.
Okay, wow, that's interesting.
So then you already can understand how difficult it can be and where silicon can migrate. And when it really reaches the nerves, then you have a huge problem.
Yes, that's what many women in our community talk about. Yeah. Many of them have big problems with their nerves, also with the nerve system. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you said before you're working for 20 years now with that point or with that aspect. So you're working with a lot of people, and what are you doing for women in the Netherlands? I know you are supporting them in different ways, and I'm not sure. Did you also start a lawsuit, or are you planning to? And is it
Yeah.
just for Dutch women? Can you tell something about that, or is it too early to talk about it? I don't
No,
know.
no, it's not too early. It's
Uh-huh.
already in an end stage. Then we set up it with claim share, and we set up a mass claim, and that is indeed for Dutch women because it's the Dutch law.
Okay.
So we were the first, and later on another group, and that was Clara Wichmann, also started the procedure. Now, so there were two, and we have tried to cooperate, but cooperation was not possible, and I think that's pretty sad for this huge problem. So at the end, we did a lot of work, and we saw that Allergan will be very strong. Then I have also had a lawsuit in the United States against Mentor, and that we lost. So there I saw already what you need to win this case. And so we did a lot of extra experiments to have more convincing research and more convincing data. And so we needed a little bit more time. And now the other party hand over the subpoena 3 months ago. And so we had only 3 months left. And then in the last few weeks, one of our important lawyers quit.
Okay.
The risk was too high. And so we were too late to hand over our subpoena before the deadline. So now the other party will start the procedure, and we will look at it.
Okay. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
And hopefully all your work will also support us in Germany. And it will, and it does. So this is so important.
Yeah,
what
that's
you are
that's the
doing.
other hand. Every day, women call or mail me with problems, and I help them, and I give them advice to look for a plastic surgeon in the Netherlands, and I see their improvement. The other thing is, I try to create awareness. And that's not always appreciated by the doctors and the
I know.
institute
I know.
because I create awareness in the media the hard way. And that's the only way to create a discussion.
I
Then
know.
I have tried it in the beginning to do it very soft and to do it within the institute. And then I only got the message, shut up and let's lower this. So much more women mailed me, and I saw a lot of problems. So I thought I have to create more awareness. So
Yeah,
but
I
not always.
exactly know what you are talking about, Henry. I exactly know that. Yeah, one plastic surgeon, when I started that work, one plastic surgeon said, "You're not making friends right now." And I said, "Well, that's not my plan." Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
creating
but for me
awareness.
it's sometimes difficult because the last 10 years I did so much work, everything in my own time without earning $1 or
Uh-huh. Yeah,
€1. I
yeah,
did everything for free in my
yeah,
own time.
yeah.
And then when you see that that there is a lot of yeah uh, aggressive, and they don't work together, and they don't want to cooperate then with you because you are too hard in your discussions. I think that's very sad, but
I know.
on the other hand, I don't want to make friends in that way. I want to create awareness
Yeah.
and the truth, and to help those patients. That's for me important.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I really thank you for. Yeah, yeah. We are discussing with the German plastic surgeon societies, I think, since 1 year now, and we try to improve the patient information before augmentation. And they always discuss with us, and they always tell us, oh no, Germany is not the United States, and we can't do the same. And so
Yeah.
it's a discussion, and again and again. So, well, we all
Yeah.
know what it's about.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
And
Okay.
I think it's very important that women exactly know what they start, and that they know what is silicon and what can happen. And
Yeah.
the most important thing is that they know when you get complaints, then you have to explant to
Yeah.
recover.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I think it's very important to respect each other, and that we know that you are beautiful just the way you are, eh? And so that you have to stay normal and stay yourself.
Yeah.
That's very important, I think.
That's it. That's it. And after all that, Henry, a very personal question to you. Would you say implants should be longer used? What would you say? What is your opinion?
In the beginning, I have always said I'm convinced that silicon implants are toxic, that they are not healthy, and so you don't have to use them anymore. And so you have to stop with them. I also heard in a lot of discussions with victims, etc., that for some it's a real quality of life, and they want to choose it. So then I say, okay, you can choose it, but you have to be aware of the problems, and when you get symptoms, you have to explant, otherwise, it's a huge problem. And of course, now we work with lipofilling, auto implantation is very, and auto reconstruction is very important these days. And I think the next few years there will be a huge increase of new procedures. But I think really silicon toxicity or the silicon implants are toxic, and don't use them anymore.
Thank you.
It would be a better way.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Okay, Henry, I thank you so much
I thank you.
that you spend your time for us. Thank you very much. I know you're very, very busy with it, like you said before. So, yeah.
But I
Nice to
thank
have.
you for all your efforts and all your hard work. Then, especially people like you are so important to create more awareness.
Yes.
And we have really to work together. Then I do some research, and creating awareness via your platform, and
Yeah.
working together with nice people like you is so much important.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Henry. Just
Thank
keep
you.
in the lane for a while. I stop now. I say bye-bye to our audience and thank you, Henry.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Wir hoffen, dies war ein weiterer interessanter Podcast für dich. Wenn du weitere Infos oder Unterstützung brauchst, komm einfach auf unsere Website. Die ist unter dem Podcast verlinkt. Unser umfangreiches Wissen und unsere Erfahrungen haben uns zu Expertinnen in diesem Bereich gemacht. Komm vorbei, wir sind für euch da und wir hören uns hoffentlich bald wieder in diesem Kanal.